Welcome to Soul Sync.
Hello, everybody. Happy beautiful new day and welcome to Soul Sync.
Oh, welcome everyone to another week. We're happy to have you here.
Fuck yeah, we are so happy to have you here. Taylor and I have been talking all morning on our hot girl walk, just having the best day. And we wanted to talk to you about this crazy realization I had doing a voice audio. So if you guys listened to the last episode, you need to learn about these voice audios. But we had the craziest realization, and it was all about getting the choice to choose that the work that you're doing is enough. Like everything that you're doing throughout the day is enough for you to continue living your best and dream life.
Facts. I feel like that's where people get super overwhelmed and super drained and super just like unmotivated in their day-to-day life is because like you forget that sometimes and you think it's just like go, go, go. I didn't do enough. I didn't accomplish enough and like deadlines and everything like that. But in reality, it's like, who's telling you that you didn't do enough?
Mhm.
Is it you or is it society? Is it someone else?
Mhm.
Like, and how did we stray so far away from listening to ourselves and our intuition?
Yeah, I completely agree because when I was having this realization, you guys know that I've been very much so like deep diving into my spirituality. So I've been playing around with my intuition. Everything that Taylor and I tell you, we actually do within our lives, you know? So I was thinking about this and I was just like, one thing that I'm very much so learning right now is having that much trust in myself, with all of the life changes that are going on in terms of like the move, doing a road trip across country by myself, having my two pets and making sure they're like just as perfectly comfortable as they can be, and just navigating all the new levels, new devils, because you guys know how things go. The universe is going to test you. And I was on my hawker walk and I was just thinking, I was like, I need to have that much trust in myself that I'm pulling this off. Everything that I'm saying to Taylor, to my friends when I talk about the move, all of that is working out and it's working out for me. And it's specifically because I'm talking and communicating to the universe. Like I'm saying specifically what I want to happen down to my parking spot. Like when I get home, I'm like, yeah, you know what? Like my parking spot's going to be here when I get back. Like let's go have an amazing time at the park, or let's go get our groceries and I'm going to find front row parking there. Like I'm very fucking specific right now, and that just led me to the realization of like, oh my god, you get the choice to choose. Like you truly do. And you get the choice to choose that every single decision you made throughout the day and every single action step you took is more than enough.
Yeah, seriously. Like everything stems from what standard you set for yourself. And
Mhm.
if you don't think you're enough, we've all felt that time and time again. But it's about like how you release yourself from that boundary because it is such a big boundary. And I just want to say, I love when Zoom gives the thumbs up just randomly. Did you see it? Do it again? Like, we'll be talking about something and it's just like, it hits, I guess, and our computers are just like thumbs up. That's right. Um, so thank you, Zoom. um, yeah, it all stems from ourselves. So it's like you have to, and this is one thing I believe I learned from Michaela J too, is like the difference between being like a solid human being and being like a wobbly human being.
Yes.
Remember that episode? I remember just being like, yo, that is so true. Like when you're kind of like more of like a wobbly, like unstable, I guess, like not so confident in yourself and you don't believe in yourself, like you let things influence you so much more and you let things get to your head so much more and you let ideas, even if it's from other people or from our ego selves, become our reality and become a fact to us. And it's like, who is telling you? Like, who are we trusting more than ourselves, first of all? But even further than that, your ego can lie to you. Your thoughts
Mhm.
can lie to you. Your thoughts can be super deceiving sometimes. But it's so important to remember that, like, we're not the ones thinking our thoughts, we're the ones observing them, you know? because like we're human and we're going to have all these things. But at the end of the day, it's really all it's about is just believing in yourself and believing that you're enough and knowing that to your core. And all of your morals, they come into play. Okay. So we got to feed our morals
Mm-hmm.
every day. And we got to tell ourselves that. Even the parking spot thing, I love that. And I do that too. And I swear it works.
It does.
It does.
I freaking love everything that you said. And I feel like the number one thing that we can take from that is like you need to know yourself in order to have this type of like clarity with yourself, you know? Because I totally agree with what you were saying about like your thoughts lying to you. Because I know when I was listening to Joe Dispenza's podcast that he was on, I believe it was with Ed Milet, he was talking about how like your thoughts are there to protect you, you know? And what my client Lana always says is that like your intuition is going to be the first thought that comes to your head. So like whatever it is, you know, with your gut feeling that that's you, you need to start leaning into that more, right? And I think that's where a lot of this like self-trust comes from is like one, you know what you want when you want it. Like we just want good parking spots. Like shit, you know? Or when I was doing all my crazy things because unfortunately I had a little mishap that required me to be at the bank a lot because, you know, somebody took money out of my deposit. Like, damn, it happens to everybody, right? But that's something you need to deal with, like 911. You need to go to the bank and be like, hey, like somebody is like using my account. This was not me, and do what you need to do. And I remember before I went, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go in there. They're going to be so helpful. This is going to be so quick and easy. It's going to get resolved. And they did everything that they needed to do. And that's exactly how it turned out. Like all the people were so helpful. It was so quick and easy. And then I had to go to Target and I was like, you know what? I'm going to walk into Target. There's going to be no line. I'm going to directly like just breeze through. And I did, you know? So it was just like, I remember I was at the park before all of this happened, just kind of like grounding myself. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to choose how this happens. And I was like just talking to the sun because it felt so good. And I was just like, I'm gonna do this and yada yada yada. I'm gonna go here and yada yada yada. And it just like came about so beautifully. And that's when I really had this idea as I was on my walk later that I was like, holy shit, like you really get that choice, you know? And like I literally chose to think that way. Like when I was like grounding myself and I was thinking about like how can I respond to this? How can I handle this? How do I want to handle this? It's like I fucking made the choice when I said it was going to be so easy. And you can choose that it's going to be so easy for you.
Oh, preach, queen. I fucking love that. But dude, you're so right. Like it really all comes down to like mindset too. It's like making that choice. And it's so wild because I literally yesterday was working on one of my clients and I'm a massage therapist in case anyone forgot or didn't listen to our first episode. Shame on you. Go listen to it right now. Um, and we were talking about just like choices that he made that led him to where he is today and how grateful he is and stuff like that. And I was like, first of all, fucking love this conversation. This is like my type of conversation, like gratitude and like everything happening for a reason and stuff like that. And he started to say, like, it's really wild to think that like one small choice could have led me in a different direction. And how he was saying, like, I always wonder, like, if I made a left instead of a right, you know, like, how would that affect the trajectory of my trip and the rest of my day? Because it's like a trickle effect. And I stopped and
Mm.
I was really like thinking about it. And I was like, it really is down to like the most minute detail. And he was like, how terrifying is that thought? And I was like, but is it terrifying or is it amazing? Like, are we using it to our benefit? You
Mhm.
know, because that is a fact that every little decision we make can lead us to a totally different outcome and in turn, like a totally different life. And while he's going on about how terrifying it is and how scary that like I might not have like been here and like maybe in the future like things are going to go wrong and whatever and I'm like, well, let's flip the perspective.
Yes.
Like how fucking amazing is it that we have this much of an impact and we have this much of control
Mhm.
over our lives and over our future sometimes. And even though it feels like you don't, because every day at one point or another, I will be like, why is this happening? What is going on? And then you kind of reel yourself back in and you're like, okay, what can I control? I
Yeah.
can control my perspective right now. I can control my mindset right now. I can control what thoughts I choose to listen to, which ones I believe are correct, and which ones I'm going to run with to be true
Mhm.
right now. And then those three things in itself, I feel like are everything you need
Yes.
to make a change, to shift the reality that you're living in, and to kind of control the outcome of any situation. So, oh my God, like this conversation with him, it was just more of an eye opener of like, okay, a lot of people are feeling that way too about how scary it is and about like things that we can't control. But it's great to think about like if you are having these limiting beliefs of like I am not enough, like I don't think I can do this, like this is going to be a really scary like big move for me and stuff like that. It's even more so important, which I know you're doing, is shifting your mindset in any little way that you can so that you can just get on this like bright and opportunistic mindset and things just start flowing to you, energetic and frequency wise. And I could see it all over Sammy. Like the more I talk to her and the more she's coming to terms with like things that have to be done, they're getting done, you know, and she's calling in the ease of it. She's calling in things coming to her and they are. And it's just like, it's an amazing thing to see and to witness it actually working and coming to fruition. So, girl, keep at it. Keep getting that fucking first parking spot. Okay.
I love you. Oh my God. Like my heart is so warm. I wish that like you guys have to watch us on YouTube because like just both of our faces are glowing so much right now. And this is what conversations like this do, you know? I fucking love, first of all, that you changed this guy's perspective like that. Like that is so beautiful. And this is what I feel like is so important about like just every single day is like how can you also affect somebody else's life? How can you help improve their mindset and help them to see how you see them? Like that's something I was telling my client last week. She was talking to me how she was like really struggling with her body image. So I told her about the mirror method and I was like, I want you to go look in the mirror and compliment the fuck out of yourself. Like tell every single part of your body that you love it and you're grateful for it because your body listens, like your soul listens. And I had said, I was like, I wish that you could see yourself the way that I do. I see you working so hard. I see you caring so much. I see you doing the work both mentally and physically. And she's made amazing results so far, but she's still being that own worst critic. And I just think it's so beautiful that like I get to change perspectives like that. And I love that you can too, because it's just like, hey, like your job, no matter what you do, maybe you're like customer service, maybe you're sales, like you can always be nice to somebody and that could change the trajectory of their day. So, Taylor, first of all, I just love that. Like, thank you so much for being a light for everybody in this world. I know you totally made like such a big difference in his life from that conversation.
Girl, first of all, thank you. But also thank you for being the huge fucking brightest light ever in the world. Because as a coach, like you're teaching people constantly and they're leaning on you for everything when it comes to their health, their mindset, and even being a spiritual coach, they're leaning on you for that sort of spiritual perspective on things and direction. So you're constantly like there's no off button with you. That's what I learned. You are constantly lifting people up. Either it's someone walking past us on the street and you're like, "Oh my god, queen, I love your pants." Or, "Oh my god, girl, like you're so pretty." Or like
I do
whatever,
that.
the smallest things, but it's so beautiful because it's like you don't know what they're battling in their head. You don't know what they're battling throughout their life, but the smallest spark of good energy and love that you're showing people like is such a ripple effect and something we might not even be able to see ourselves because like you know you're just passing them, like they could be a total stranger that you never see again, but it ripples to like the next person and then the next person and then the next person. And maybe she had like, body dysmorphia, or maybe she
Yeah.
had like something she's been struggling with so much. And just you being the coach that you are, and like the beautiful light and soul that you are, it's like you don't realize how much you're really changing people's lives with that beautiful intention that you're putting into their heads of being like, look at this perspective that I see so easily in you. So
Yeah.
now it's your turn to see it in yourself.
Oh, thank you so much. I just feel so grateful, because like all I want to do is help people. Like I know I'm journaling so much right now, especially with like everything going on. So thank you again for like before too, how you're getting all your shit done because I'm literally battling so many different avenues of life right now and just so much change. And all I write in my journal is like I just want to change lives. Like I just want to impact people. I just want to be my best self. Like I just want to show up like 100%. And throughout everything, like, sometimes that is a little bit of a battle. You need to make that choice, like I remember I was talking to one of my friends who I'm so grateful is going to help me like put my shit in my car because like I got a kind of like roof cover for like my clothes and my shoes and kind of like things that if somebody opened it they're like, oh, I don't even want this, so that's what I'm going to be putting up there, but it's really heavy, so he had offered to help me and I was like, yes, thank you so much, you're such a godsend. And he had told me, he was like, well, be prepared that like things that you really want, you might have to let go of. And I've been doing this method as I pack. It's like the yes, no method. So it's like, do I feel called to take this? And if it's a no, I have to donate it or like bring it to Goodwill. And sometimes it's so hard. And I'm like, but I love this blanket. Why is it a no? And yes, this happened this morning. But he had told me, I was like, beware. And I was like, well, why? Like, I was like, no, I'm gonna have the mindset that every single thing I want to fit is gonna fit in this car. I'm good at Tetris. Like, I'm good at packing. I'm literally putting like crystals and small things in my purses so that when I put my purses in the car, they all have things. Like, I fucking got this, And I immediately like challenged him. And I feel like what I've kind of been learning throughout all these new levels is like the more I challenge them and the more I stay on my path, like the easier it is to be positive. Like he had said that, and I was like, well, it's just as easy to think about the good. Like, what if they all fit? And he was like, well, yeah, like that is a possibility, but I still feel like you should prepare. And I was like, but then you're asking me to prepare for the worst. Like, I will not do that. And I think that's something that I'm really unlearning right now because, like, in my family, it was very like catastrophic. Like, oh my God, you're traveling the world alone, like having all of this fear. And it's like I had to reject that and continue on my own path. And it's like the more I do that, the easier it is. So I'm attracting my own, like, hey, actually, I'm gonna keep this perspective. This feels a little bit more aligned, but I'm also like attracting help and support. Like he's helping me with my car. And I was like, please, like, I just want as much help and support as possible. Or one of my clients, Cecilia, she actually just did a 12-hour drive by herself, and she gave me this website. She told me about this backpack that you already know. The same night I ordered Boomy so that we can like walk together and he could be on my back and I can have Nala. And she was like, this is going to be so much fun, like we're going to hop on another call before I leave just to like plan out the trip. And she was like, I always have so much fun, like bring snacks, do this. And I swear I left that conversation feeling like my higher self Sammy would feel and be like, I'm so excited. Like, I'm so excited to get to experience a road trip like this. Like, once I do it alone, like, this is the hardest part. I'm going to be able to go all over. I can drive to Colorado. Like, I could drive home to see my family and friends. Like, I could drive to Jersey and see you, T, Like, and I started thinking those thoughts, and it's like, those can be just as addicting, right? Like, those can be just as easy. And that's just something that, like, I've really been practicing lately.
Freaking amazing. Oh my God. And it's so beneficial. Like I can already tell from like the way you're talking about it and your like energy around it. It's like it totally worked. Like they say fear and excitement kind of release the same sort of like neurotransmitter in
Mhm.
our brains of like the same type of feelings. Like, our heart rate gets like more, we can be like sweaty, we can be like whatever. Our body doesn't really know the difference but it's the smallest difference of the perspective in it.
Yes.
So that actually worked so well for me with public speaking. I remember I was always terrified of public speaking, like forever. And then when I went to Costa Rica, I was like, I am going back to school, and I know this is like such a like big journey, and I know that there's going to be so much like public speaking and like everything involved. And of course there fucking was. We had a project like twice a week where I had to like talk in front of, however many people. And I was like, I'm changing the narrative now in my head. So, like, to make the conscious decision of like, nothing as far as that is going to be fear based. It's all going to be excitement based. I'm so excited to tell
Mhm.
people who I am. I'm so excited to tell them about what I'm learning and to tell them like how it makes me feel and like how it makes a difference in the world and how it can change their world and stuff like that. And when I tell you it worked so fucking well, that it was like now I have such a totally different outlook on it. Like, yeah, I'll get sweaty. Yeah, I'll maybe like get jittery or whatever, but it's for a totally different reason. Like, I'm just excited to get
Mhm.
it out there. And that's also how I felt about the Each One Teach One that I'm going to this weekend, because it was like, we strongly encourage everyone to talk and everyone to participate, because you're teaching each other your views. You're teaching each other like how you work with energy and how you work with people every day. So the whole, like, I'm genuinely just so excited to share what I've learned and to teach people something. So it really is like the perspective change in your head of just flipping that switch, and that's where you can really manipulate your body at the same time to be
Mhm.
on the same page as your mind. Because it's like, damn, if regardless both of these receptors are going off and they're producing the same bodily reaction, but the only difference is like how it makes me feel like inside. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
I know I read that somewhere, and I know this is proven, and I don't know the exact, if it's dopamine, serotonin, it's probably adrenaline, that's for shit sure. That goes through you, but I just know that like there are so many biological hacks in that way too that you can utilize to shift perspective. So, girl, doing that with your move, I'm sure it was so beneficial to you, because it's
Mhm.
like, no, I'm excited to move. I'm excited to do this whole road trip. I'm excited to be in a new state. Yeah. And doesn't it uplift you and just give you fucking energy?
Girl, it does. I'm gonna need to say it like that. Shit. I feel like you actually gave me a good tip to use these next couple of days.
Fuck yeah, I love that. It's so beneficial and it's a game changer. If you're like dreading something, there's energy behind that. There's so much like heavy energy behind that. If I'm dreading going to work, it's going to be a shitty ass day at work. If I'm so excited to go to work for whatever little reason, tiny little reason, it shifts everything. So that's my 2 cents.
No, I love that. And I feel like it naturally kind of goes like with what I've been doing, except I just love like the words of it because yesterday I was just having a day. I was running around and Taylor, I already kind of like vented to you. So you know exactly what happened. But basically, like I've been working on fixing this problem that I have. And for some reason, it is just not being fixed. And I'm like talking to customer service and they're taking hours to answer. And I'm like, hey, like I'd really like to get this resolved. And I've been very much so learning patience. And I've submitted the document that I need to like 10 times. No joke, 10 different times. And I'm just like, this is gonna work out. Like, it's gonna get resolved. And I had like a shitty 10 minutes in the shower because I was like, ugh, like when stuff like this happens, it's when I really miss Tom, like while I'm like here alone. And I'm just like, oh, like I just wish, I had somebody to hug me and like walk me through this. So I took a shower and I cleansed myself and I felt called to go to the pool. And I was like, but I literally just showered. But I was like, go to the pool. So I went to the pool and I decided to journal and I journaled all about my shitty day. So I just like got it out and I was just like, okay, like this is what made me angry. I felt frustrated. I don't like that I felt that way because I don't like feeling those emotions. I want to be happy. I want to be positive. And then I decided, I was like, again, with this whole topic of like, you get a choice, I was like, well, I get a choice to like decide how this is going to work out. So I wrote a list and I was like, how can I change everything that I'm seeing as a negative right now, or that's not working out for me, that's a little bit unknown, or even if it is working out and it's great, I'm going to still write that down. And I basically changed everything to what I wanted to happen, you know? So it was just like, okay, they're finally going to accept this verification, and this is going to be the last time I submit it. Like, it's going to work this time. It's going to work out, you know? Or it's like, I'm gonna have an amazing drive. Like, I literally am gonna make myself the cutest sandwiches. And like, I wrote all of this down and I was like, I'm gonna stop at the cutest rest stops. Anybody I come into contact with, they're gonna be the nicest people ever. Super safe. I'm gonna be safe the whole time. Like, just writing out all of the details of like what I wanted. Even when I move, I was like, I'm gonna have so much support during the move. And when I get there, I'm gonna have so much support. I'm gonna find all my perfect items that I want for my apartment because I'm getting everything brand new. And I just really like twisted that. So I think what would make it even more powerful the next time I do it, and as I continue to call in what I want, is to add that, like, I am so grateful and excited. And then put that, because it's just again is like more of that gratitude, but also like I'm calling in the excitement because I really do want to feel excited, even if it feels scary and it feels new and there's a lot of change. And Taylor knows whenever it comes to change, I don't like it. Like, I'm learning to like it. Like, I'm definitely changing that belief. But for a really long time in my life, I always was like so avoidant to change. Like, I would just like inch my way away from it. But you can't. You got to face it head on, And something that my podcaster friend, Mariah, says is you need to make fear your friend, and she says this all the time on her podcast. I met her in Kelowna and I remember her telling me that too. And I was like, I need to make fear my friend, So that's just kind of like something that I've been doing. And I just love that tip, Taylor. I'm literally going to go do that at the pool, I think, today.
Fuck yeah, girl.
Yeah.
I love that.
Isn't that
I always
crazy?
I always resonated with the quote, fear is an invitation to evolve.
Oh, I want to write that down too.
Saw that on like an Instagram post. It was on like a little envelope. And then I did a whole like edit, like graphic design edit around that quote too. And in Costa Rica, people saw it on my, like, it was my wallpaper, and they were all like, "Oh my God, can you send me that? I want that picture. I want it to be my wallpaper." So I had like a bunch of random people from school, like, have fear is an invitation to evolve as their background and keeping that mindset. Yeah, because there's a lot of fearful things and there's a lot of change. And when we run towards it rather
Mhm.
than away from it, and we just acknowledge that there's going to be discomfort,
Yeah.
but it's good discomfort and not, bad discomfort or threatening or any dangerous discomfort. Like our bodies, like you said before, like we evolve to protect ourselves. So
Mhm.
like every negative thought or every limiting thought is just to protect our being and to keep us in like a little bubble. But what they don't tell us is that there's a beautiful fucking world of possibilities outside of that bubble, and that everything worth getting and worth being is outside of that fucking bubble. And
Mhm.
why don't they teach us that in school? Like, oh my God, teach me that as like a second grader. You know what I mean? Like, swear to God, when I have kids, and me and Sammy were just talking about this, but when I have kids, I'm going to teach them all of this,
Mhm.
like what we talk about in the podcast. Like, I'm going to ingrain it into their heads of like,
Mhm.
girl, you choose a
Yeah.
lot more than you think you do. So even like your intake on all of this and everything is so much appreciated too. Cause like minus all the cursing and whatever and everything, I'm gonna be playing this and my baby's gonna be like in the stroller. We're gonna be walking down the street and I'm gonna be like, honey, this is the this is mommy's favorite podcast. We're gonna listen and we're gonna learn today, sweetie. And she's gonna be like, okay, goo goo gaga. So
Correct.
but for real, like who told us this wasn't the fucking truth, and who told us that like this isn't important to know early on in life? Like we got to learn this shit the hard way sometimes, and we're adults, you know? There's no age limit. No one is safe from this. It's your choice and your thoughts.
I cannot. That is so funny, Taylor.
If anyone's listening on Spotify, I just whipped out a pigeon stuffed animal and he has a little french fry in his mouth. Because Point Pleasant is notorious for our thick ass pigeons, or not pigeons, oh my god, seagulls stealing everyone's food.
That is hilarious. Oh my God. I love you, Taylor. You are just my best friend in the whole wide world. And also, can you send me that background, please? I
Yeah.
want it. Yes. I'm obsessed. And I think you're so right. You know, like we do need to teach like this to our kids and we need to teach it to ourselves first. And I think that's kind of like what perspective I have when it comes to any up level that I'm making in my life. I'm just like, okay, well, like I'm a coach, I'm a friend, I'm a partner. Like I need to grow and I need to learn more about myself and, like put myself in these uncomfortable situations in order to grow so that I can teach others, Like I need to constantly be growing also. It's just one of my values. So I can't even help it. I'm always like, how can I be better, in all areas. But I feel like we need to learn it first about ourselves in order to teach it to our kids. And that's why I know you're going to be the best mom in the world. I mean, like, you literally already have the stuffed animals with french fries. Like, they're going to be obsessed.
I'm dead. You're like, girl, you're already prepared. You got a stuffed animal.
Facts. But seriously, you've done the work and it just shows, So I'm just always so grateful because this is my favorite podcast too. I feel like I learned so much. And when this airs, I'm gonna be like probably I think I'll be in Austin when this airs. So it's like getting to listen back and think about all of the things that really helped me and really helped you and really helped like I'm still not over your customer, like you totally changed his life. And I just love like that rewire too because it kind of makes me think about like my life right now of like there's been so many decisions that I've made and it's like each one really does have that like meaning and that like I don't know, just like it really affects each and everything that you do and you become and I really do see the beauty in that, And I think that is like what waking up really is. It's about opening up your eyes to seeing something that can actually benefit you and being open and willing to actually receive that because I think that's the other thing. Like you get the choice that what you're doing is enough, but you also need to fully believe that you're worthy of receiving it, And I think that's another thing that I'm just very much so like learning throughout this process is that I am, and that like all of the work that I'm doing of like the shadow work, journal prompts, forgiveness letters, like all of that is leading towards the most beautiful like awakening with this new chapter of my life.
Oh my god, girl. You're just preaching today. I feel like we're on to something.
Mhm.
Yeah, the worthiness too. I feel like once you really learn that, like not you specifically, but like anyone, because like there's a lot of times where I'm noticing things that I just don't feel worthy of getting. And
Mhm.
just like I never have type of thing. So
Mhm.
it's like you really have to also sit with it and be like, well, why? Like, why do I feel that way? And what is it attracting to me? And what is it stopping from attracting to me is like a big one too. Because if I don't think I'm worthy of like, let's just say $4,000 a week or something, like money wise, or if I'm not worthy of an amazing boyfriend and I'm not worthy of this type of life that I'm trying to call in, like, I'm not going to get it.
Mhm.
So I could not agree more. I think that is like the one of the most underestimated things that people overlook on a day-to-day basis is like believing something like that and just giving into it
Mhm.
and not deep diving in and not changing that narrative that you were talking about. So, girl, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of us.
Mhm.
We're just out here doing the damn thing.
Yeah, we are. So that's how we know that like this works, you know? And Taylor and I are always coming back and forth, like sharing wins and like even if we need to send a little audio of like, hey, we were dealing with this, but we overcame it in this way, you
Mhm.
know? So like don't feel like because you have the choice that you have to do it alone because you really don't, you know? So like I like to say like have three people that you could just be 100% organically, authentically you. You don't have to hold anything back. And that's especially in terms of like choosing the life and the mindset and the feelings that you truly want to live in this lifetime, you know, because everyone is a projection. So it's like, make sure you're choosing those people wisely. Cause I'm so grateful that I can go to Taylor about anything and she will turn it to the positive for me, you know, and she'll give me homework and she'll hear me and she'll support me. And that's just like the true definition of friendship. And at the end of the day, we're human. So we all need support in this too. So I feel like also having and feeling the worthiness of like being loved and being supported. Like it honestly starts within, but make sure you're setting just as much intention to build that outside too cuz let me tell you, it helps. It is a game changer.
Girl, that was fucking beautiful. I love you so much. I value this friendship so fucking much. And
Mhm.
I feel like that was a beautiful place to wrap it up, too.
I do too.
Yeah. So, what homework should we give our listeners, do you think?
I feel like you should get the homework of thinking about what Taylor had said of like what is stopping you from calling in what you want? Like, what do you need to release right now? And then honestly, you guys got to do the excitement homework with me. Like, I'm dead ass about doing that today. So, like, I think after doing the releasing and realizing, like, you know, that you're worthy and rewiring that, think about like, what do you actually want? What do you want to be worthy of? And put it down on paper as like, I am so grateful and excited that I called in $4,000 a week, you know? Like, write it out as if it already happened and like something that I've been thinking about a lot lately is just transmuting the energy, you know, like turning everything to a positive. How could this be working out for you, you know? And I think that's what their homework should be. What do you think, Taylor?
I think that's amazing. I think with the excitement exercise, write down a list of things that you fear right now in your life. Like I write down like I fear whatever and then cross out the fear and write I'm excited about whatever. And just fully sit in that sentence. And even if you have to say it like 10 times over for you to feel the energy behind it of like I'm not fearful that anything's going to go wrong, you know? Like I'm not fearing the 18-hour drive. I'm excited for the 18-hour drive because X, Y, and Z. And you can list out all of the positives, all the things you're planning on doing, anything to shift that. And it's like replace fear in your vocabulary with excitement and just see where it leads you to, I
Mm.
think is my homework advice.
I love that. I just wrote that down.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, girl.
Okay. Well, you guys already know where you can find us. You can find me on all platforms. That's going to be SAMIRUESS and then a little underscore on Instagram. Taylor, where can they find you?
At Taylor Bavel on Instagram. We also have our Soul Sync account, as you guys know, because you're listening from it right now.
Fuck yeah.
So, YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and our Ask Us is still there. So, if you got any wins or anything you just want to tell us, pop in there, people, and we'll be waiting for you.
I love it. All right. Well, I feel like this was a beautiful episode. I hope that it warms your guys' hearts just as much as it does ours. And we shall talk to you next week.
Love you guys.
Love you. Bye.